Welcome, everyone. I'm Kimberly Boschman, and this is the Intentionally Intuitive Podcast. In this episode, we're going to take a look at the month of March 2023 and the life path forecast for the month ahead. Be sure to subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss when I post. And of course, thank you all so much for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you. Personal month forecasts, which will include, of course, the moon forecasts, those will be coming sometime next week, I anticipate, so keep your eye out for those. And of course, they are different from the life path forecasts, and they do have different calculations. So be aware of that, and definitely check yours out once they land. Like I said, I expect that to be sometime next week. This, of course, is a general reading. For a personal reading or a coaching with numerology session with me, you can book some time with me. Of course, my information is in the description box below to do that. Okay, so March 2023 is 10-1 energy. So you may have seen some things close out in the month of February. Some things coming to fruition, completion, things falling away, creating a clean slate, right? So March, we have this beautiful clean slate to create whatever it is that we wish to create, to take some big risks, to take some some initiations, to initiate some new things, right? To be somewhat aggressive in that approach and to go after what it is that our hearts desire. This, of course, is going towards those sort of individual goals, those big new starts when it comes to self. The one energy is very much focused on self and identity and going after, again, what it is that we feel called to go after at this moment, and what it is that we feel called to create or initiate, and to do that in a way that, again, we're taking the initiative to do that. One energy forces us to take the initiative to get started on something. And it may look different than what we had anticipated it would look like. And a lot of times with one energy, that's very normal. It can be so outside the box that a lot of people don't understand it, and that's okay. Follow your instincts, follow your intuition, follow your heart at this time, and really take those big risks on the things that really speak to you the most. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at the individual life path forecast, taking all this into consideration. Life path number 7. So your animal wisdom for the month of March comes from bat energy. This is interesting energy. And so really what's coming through is this sort of this need for like self-surrendering. And really what I mean by that is like, if there is a space or something that you have just, or a thought or whatever that you've just had on like the loop, right? Or you just continue to beat yourself up about something or shame yourself about something. You're just really harsh, or I don't know, just trying to really control some aspect of yourself that does not want to be controlled, if that makes sense. Then bat energy coming through is just asking you to stop, to surrender, to stop being so mean to yourself, right? To understand that there are some aspects of ourselves that we can't explain and we can't control because it's so much bigger than the ego. It's so much bigger than the physical self. It is such a big part of the soul, right? Like what the soul wants to accomplish in this lifetime, what the soul wants to do and achieve in this lifetime. And in order to do that, there has to be aspects or components to the physical self that sometimes we might want to change, but that are not meant to be changed. They're a core piece of who we are. And so sometimes we have to surrender to that and find ways to love that, right? Or at least accept it, to find acceptance around it, right? There are definitely, and I think we could all name things that if we could change them about ourselves, we would in a heartbeat. But if we were to do that, it would detract from who we are. It would change the course of, like, again, what our gifts are and what we're here to experience and to share. So I think that really with that energy coming through, if there is something about yourself that you are just being really ugly about and really mean towards yourself about and really relentless in trying to change that piece of yourself. Bad energy is coming through asking you to surrender. Surrender to that, whatever that is, and allow it to be, right? Because you have to find acceptance with it first, because chances are, if you've been trying to change whatever this is for so long and it's not changing, chances are it's a core piece of who you're meant to be in this lifetime, and you're meant to work with it. You're meant to incorporate it in some way and figure it out, right? Not change it, but work with it. So with that energy coming through, it's just sort of this like motherly kind of energy saying, or fatherly, whatever, just saying, it's not going anywhere, so figure it out, like surrender to it, accept it, and figure out, like, instead of putting all that energy towards trying to change it, put that energy towards how can you move with it? How can you work with it? How can you like use it to your advantage type thing, right? How can you use it as part of your medicine, not only for yourself, but for others as well? So really, really beautiful. I'm probably not articulating it in the way I'm not articulating it in the way that it's coming through and the way that I want to express it. But I think if this resonates for you, you get what I'm saying. So if there's something about you that you have been sort of relentlessly trying to change, that's just such a big part of who you are, stop fighting it and find a way to surrender to it. And it's through that surrendering that the opportunities will come through for you to be able to then not only accept it, but work with it, use it, right? It's there for a reason, right? It's a part of who you are for a reason. There's also, with bad energy coming through, this potential for like prophetic powers to come through, right? Now that sounds so big, but it's like really just like a deeper inner knowing potentially coming through, whether that's through your dreams, whether that's through something someone says to you, or something you see, or something you hear, whatever. Some kind of like deep knowing, like there's no question. This is a knowing that this is going to happen. I don't know how, but it's going to happen. And so you kind of get moved down a new path, or moved a little bit in a different direction potentially on your path because of that prophecy, right? That knowing. And usually when it's that intense, it usually will, it's prophetic. So it usually will transpire in some way. It will show up. It will manifest in some way. It might look different than what you anticipate. But with that coming through, there's something like seeing beyond the illusion, seeing through the dark, seeing things from a different perspective, right? Like bats hang when they sleep, right? So they see the world upside down. So yeah, it's just like seeing things in a different way. Also, it's like when they're hunting, they're using sonar. So they're seeing the world through a different sense, right? So there's a lot coming in here with bad energy about working with what you have, surrendering to that piece of you, or those pieces of you that you've been fighting for so long. Like, aren't you tired? That's really what Bat wants to say. Like, aren't you tired? Like, just surrender to these parts of yourself that, other people may not accept. And that's okay. They don't need to. The only one who needs to accept the things about us that we don't maybe like or want to change or whatever is ourselves. And maybe the reason why we don't accept them or we don't like those things about ourselves is because of the outside world, and because we put too much weight in what other people think. So there's a lot I could say about this. But anyway, I think you get the drift. And we're all in the same boat, right? Like, it's just coming through for sevens this month, but this is advice or wisdom that we could all sort of heed, right? So anyway, so take it for what it's worth. But if there is that piece of you, or those pieces, just stop the fight, surrender to it, and work with it, embrace it, see it as unique to you. And what can you do with it, right? Change the framework, change the perspective, change the lens that you're seeing that through, which doesn't happen quickly, obviously. But, it's like once we have that awareness and we're like, okay, once we can shift the framework, then it's like, you know what? I'm not going to fight against this anymore. How can I use this for good? How can I use whatever this is for a greater purpose? So there is beauty in all of that. Okay, so for March, for you all, you are actually working with 17-8 energy. This is beautiful. This is such beautiful energy. I love to see this coming through for sevens or for anyone, but this is beautiful energy. So this is like good fortune coming through, kind of like this energy of the table, or like it's like Wheel of Fortune energy in tarot, right? So it's kind of like the tables, or the tables shifting, the tables turning in your favor. There's just this energy of like rewards, recognition, sort of like assistance from others. So if there's some area within your life where you need assistance or you want help with something, this is a great month to ask for it, to put yourself out there, to initiate. Like you would probably have to initiate it because we're also under that one umbrella universally. You would probably have to initiate it, but this is a great month for that, getting that support, right? Like getting the support that you need to be able to accomplish and do the things that your heart desires. This is a great month also for travel. So if you have an opportunity to travel, whether that's close to home or far from home, whether it's for work or whether it's for pleasure, this is a great month to do it. Go for it. You may also like come into some strong awareness around something, or understanding around something through travel. That's very possible as well. So definitely if the opportunity presents itself, take it. This is also a great month for things coming through or things coming together that maybe have felt separated or in conflict. It's like things just sort of coming together harmoniously with very little effort. I mean, in most cases, you've probably already put the effort in previously, but this is like things coming together in a really beautiful way without a lot of additional effort on your part. So beautiful, beautiful, supportive, cosmically supportive energy. It's kind of also like those things that are like serendipitous, or the things that are like meant to happen, like destiny or fated. That can really happen under this energy where it's like things just kind of like the universe conspires, trips over itself to like make things happen. That's like this energy as well. So you might notice a lot of like serendipitous events. You might notice a lot of like fated moments happening this month, new awareness, new awakenings that open your eyes to these events type things so that you're like open to receiving them as well. So beautiful, beautiful supportive energy this month. The big key here is, especially under 17-8 energy, is to fight that self-doubt, right? Like self-doubt is a big one, and it's the thing that will trip you up this month or anytime. But if there's areas where there's a lot of self-doubt or like self-abuse, right? Like where you're like emotionally or whatever, right? Or spiritually abusing your own self-worth or whatever. This is a month where it's like you just have to really, really, really pay attention to that and just make sure that, try to understand like where it is that you are beating yourself up, or where it is that you're like holding yourself like on this, like you have these strong expectations for yourself that like are not realistic, right? So wherever that is, of course you're going to have self-doubt where there's unrealistic expectations, right? So wherever any of this comes in, just really sort of sit with it and deconstruct it, right? Like this is the work this month really, is those self-defeating thought processes, or again, like wherever it is that you're beating yourself up and you need to surrender. I see that as sort of the work this month. So, and it's an ongoing journey, right? It's an ongoing process. But bat energy and the energy of the 17-8 are really assisting you in doing that, because this has the potential to be an incredibly beautiful month for you all. Very rewarding, very much like, in the spotlight, and just really like being celebrated for who you are. But none of that means anything if you're not doing that for yourself. So interesting energy coming through for sevens, but I think this is going to be a big year for sevens anyway. This is a 7 universal year. So I think that, it'll be a big year, but this month looks like it could potentially be beautiful. But again, there's that sort of those self-doubts kind of that could creep in. So pay attention to that, but I hope it is a beautiful month for you all, sevens. Take care, everyone. Bye for now.